quit my job this week.
Holy shit.
I quit my job that I had for 10 years that paid multiple zeros and dollar signs. I built myself up enough of a cushion with TikTok where it was like, okay, I have enough time to figure out what's next for me, but I just can't keep doing what I'm doing. 10 years for a company is a lot of time. That's a third of my life. And like I said, I was very successful. So it's hard to walk away from all of that. If you want to make it work, you will. And I think the hardest thing for me is to hear when people say they just don't have time. You do have time. You're just not making it. You need to be committed to this or it's not going to work for you. You can't complain that you posted one video a week and then you're not showing any numbers. Like, you got to find time, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 10 minutes, whether it's an hour, whether you wake up an hour earlier to get it out and get it done. You just got to do it.
Welcome back to another episode of the Social Army Podcast. I'm your host, Bryce, and today we have a guest that's been with us for quite some time with Inside Social Army and actually went through and had some videos and things reviewed in the very beginning, trying to get some good content critique on some of the things that she was doing to maybe find some better success, and boy, did it pay off in the long run. She's been able to go on and do so well, and we'll touch base on her amount of sales here in just a second. But before we dive into that, I do want to give a quick disclaimer. Anything you guys see, watch, or hear inside of these podcasts is not financial advice. We're not here to give you guys any sort of advice on financials or anything of that nature because we are not financial advisors. And two, the results that you see are not typical. These are results of people who have been able to find extraordinary success throughout the TikTok Shops affiliate program. But we want to bring the awareness to you guys so that way you have the knowledge of what is possible. Okay. This is not some get rich quick scheme, just putting that out there. But aside from all of that, I want to go ahead and introduce Ashley. She goes by Rome Baby on TikTok. Ashley, if you would.
Hello. As Bryce mentioned, my name is Ashley and I go by Rome Baby. That's one of my handles. That's my main handle. But I've been in Social Army now since about the summertime. I would say around June, when I was really slacking on my videos. I found success pretty early on with live streams, but that takes a toll on you. I had 2 other full-time jobs that I was like juggling that with. So I really wanted to dive in on getting the shoppable videos going, and I didn't know what to do. I look back at my old videos, it's like, oh gosh, where did that come from? But just having the structure and having the community and the guidance of people who I looked up to, people that I'd already followed and seen that success, I really want to push towards that myself. And here we are several months later, we're doing well.
That's amazing. Now, when you first joined, you said you were having some good success with lives. But your videos were kind of, struggling at first. I'm going to be honest with you. The videos that I reviewed in the very beginning, they weren't bad. You had a good idea and I guess plan on where you wanted to go with it. What do you think was your biggest struggle with it? Just trying to find, how to convert those viewers into sales?
I think it's more conversions. I would say that I teeter on the line of an entertainer and, a shoppable content. So I have a lot of videos that are shop videos that have 4 million views and I might have only gotten 15 to 20 sales on it, which those numbers don't add up. Am I entertaining to watch? Yes, but was I closing the deal? That's the biggest thing. Like, was I closing the deal with it? And I feel like there's a lot of pieces missing from that. Like, I feel like I really exceed in creativity. I think that's like, we'll mention later the friend group that I have and like each one of our strengths and weaknesses, but mine's creativity. Like, I feel like my wheels are always turning kind of to a point where it's like, okay, you need to hone down and like focus on one thing at a time. So like, I don't have an issue with that. It was just more of like, okay, how am I going to loop this back in? Like, you've watched me long enough, but like, how am I going to get you to click that button and go ahead and make that purchase? So I feel like that was my biggest struggle. And then also, Jerry actually gave me a piece of advice, the dead space. The dead space is like, and so anytime I see someone else's shop video now that has like those pauses and that dead space, I'm like, cut it out. And I think that's really helped, keep the longevity of the viewers on my videos. But I think everyone's always learning. That's the best thing about, having this community like this and having top, affiliates. We're always learning. We're always trying to figure out what works. And when you have a community that you can bounce these ideas off of and see what works for one person might not work for the next person. It's just, constantly just growing and really honing down like your niche and really honing down your craft, because that's what it is. We're content creators first, and then, we sell on top of that.
100%. And when you can master both of those, you become a very, very dangerous duo, because being able to create entertaining content while also being able to sell through that content is such a good skill to have. You specialize on a few different things, right? You said creativity, and you said, being entertaining as well. What do you think helped you get to that point of being able to specialize in being creative? What have you done in the past that led you down this road of content creation?
So honestly, I just think it's how my brain's wired. I'm very neurodivergent type. So I
I
just
feel
think
that.
that's
I feel
if,
that.
if I could, you don't want to say too much, but it's a strength and a weakness for sure.
Yep.
But when it comes to this, like my mind never turns off. And I think that's one hard thing about joining like TikTok shop. It becomes very consuming and like I can't turn it off. So it's just like I'm in bed, I'm thinking of different ideas. It's just something that's always been a part of me. And what's funny is like the sales part of it. I told you earlier how I was having a hard time looping that into the sales. I've been in sales for 10 years. I've been very successfully in sales for 10 years. And I took your lead. I know I told you I had something big to tell you. I don't know if this is
Yeah.
too soon to drop that knowledge,
No,
but
drop it. I want to hear it.
I took your lead and I quit my job this week.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I quit my job that I had for 10 years that paid over I don't know if they get over six figures, but multiple zeros and dollar signs within the money that I was making in my sales position before this. And I came to a point, it wasn't like I was choosing TikTok over this position. I was, really two steps out the door long before
Right.
this. It just kind of
Right.
happened where TikTok came through and I've been doing both and plus another job, for so long where I built myself up enough of a cushion with TikTok where it was like, okay, I have enough time to figure out what's next for me, but I just
Right.
I can't keep doing what I'm doing. 10 years for a company is a lot of time. That's a third of my life. And like I said, I was very successful. So it's hard to walk away from all of that. But I had to bet on myself and having this app and this platform to be like, okay, this is me. I'm selling, things that I like and that I love, and I can show who I am. And I'm building something for me, my family that can offer flexibility. So it came a point to last week and it was emotional to say the least, but like I feel relieved. I feel excited. I know we're all going to be like, okay, what happens in January? That's just one
Right.
door. You know what I mean? Like if we can all do this well, show this much success, put this much drive and focus towards, social media, it's going to be all right for us. And it's going to be all right for anyone
100%.
else who's trying.
And you've built a skill with it. Content creation is a skill that can lead into every other platform that
Exactly.
involves content. Instagram, YouTube, Amazon with what they've got coming on later on down the road. There's so many different ways to do it. So that's awesome. Now, if you don't mind me asking, usually one of the big things I touch base on in the very beginning, which I completely spaced on even asking, how much have you done in total sales since you started?
So it's hard to track like right before, because we can only look
Right.
back so far. But I would say this month I'm probably going to hit 1 million GMV.
Oh, in total.
Yeah, in total.
Holy shit!
GMV.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So yeah, you've definitely built up that cushion for quitting. Because I did the same thing. I granted I'm crazy. I quit my job 2 weeks after I started TikTok Shop. But I made like almost $100,000 in that 2 week period commissioned. So for me, I had a big enough cushion to last a year if need be, right? Because that's what I was making at my job. I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go ahead and go for it because there's only one way to find out if you're actually going to make it. And it's either you jump in head first and you sink or swim. And I chose to swim. So
yeah, you did great. I mean, and now you have Social Army too. So you can, like I said, build upon, you can build and you can grow into something, you want. When I was working my full-time job, and this is when I was live streaming, I mentioned like I started off for early live streaming. I would wake up at 4 a.m. I would live stream for 2 hours. I would go to work all day. Mind you, I'm a mom too. I'm a mom. I run an Airbnb business. And so I would do that. I would come home, be the mom, be the wife. The kids would go to sleep. And then I would live stream again until midnight, sleep a couple hours and do that again, like flip, rinse, and repeat. And, when you're running like that, you kind of don't really know how to slow down. But I kind of had to take a step back from lives a little bit. We can get into that and focus more on the shop videos. But I realized like, I can't do it all. I'm running myself ragged. It's way too much. And like, if I've gotten myself to be this successful doing this as a side hustle, I'm like, I can't wait to see what's in store for me, being able to put all of my focus, all of my attention into it. Because I know there's good things ahead for me, whether that's TikTok shop, whether it's in social media, content creation. I'm just excited like to be my own boss. I've been working full time since I was 15. And now I'm like, this is crazy.
This is why I love this, because this right here is exactly what this is about, is being able to take back that time freedom and that financial freedom to be your own boss, right? At the end of the day, all of us want that, for the most part at least. But it's so hard to make that a reality when there's so many different ways to make it happen. But sometimes you just got to take some focus and put it on one thing that's going to provide that for you. And for a lot of us, it's been TikTok shop.
For sure.
And it's been one of those things it's changed so many people's lives. And I love seeing it happen in real time because, like you said, just in the summer, so 6 months ago, about June, July, is when you started getting into Social Army. In that 6 months time, you've been able to master the art of creating videos that convert, and now you don't have to worry about going to work anymore because of that. And all it took was 6 months of dedication, and you got there.
Yeah, and I can go to, my kids' parties at school and field trips and like those things I missed out on before. I have that flexibility. And like I said, like I did very well financially at my other job. Like still what I'm doing on TikTok isn't covering that, but I had to take a step back and realize like my mental health matters. What I'm looking for in life matters. The time that I'm able to give my family matters. So I'm like, even though I'm not going to be making as much money, because it was great, I could stagger the both, together, my salary, commission, and TikTok. But I like took a step back and I was like, you know what? I'm in my early 30s. And do I want to spend the next 10 years, doing the exact same thing just because, the pay's great? But then after that 10 years, where am I? I'm in the same position. I'm like, this is the best time for me to figure out something for myself, figure something for my family, get that time back. And it's a big leap, like I said, but I'll make it work. I already know that I'm a hustler type mentality, so I'll figure it out no matter what. I have the support of my family. My husband runs his own company as well. So it's kind of like, we're doing things for ourselves.
Right. And, one thing you won't get back is time. Money comes and goes. But the time with your children, that's once in a lifetime. It does not come back. And I think that's the biggest reason why I push so hard to be home, is because, I've got 4 kids now, and I relate to that so much, because you don't get the time to take back to say, oh, hey, I'll go to your next performance. What if there isn't a next performance? Or, hey, I'll go to your next game. What if there isn't a next game? You don't get that time back.
And I think that was like one of the big things that like was a light bulb for me was, my son, they had like just a Halloween, quick party at school that I didn't get to go to. And that was in the morning, and I picked him up after school, hours and hours later. And the first thing he said to me is like, Mom, why weren't you at my party? And I was like, so like, they noticed that. And he's 4, he's 4 years old, and he's already asking me like why I wasn't able to be there. And
growing up matters.
At work, and just, you won't get that back. So like, I'm so thankful, that I took a risk, number one, but I'm also thankful that I built up a community with Social Army. As I mentioned, I have friends that are deep within Social Army, deep within TikTok Shop. And I think that is probably the biggest thing that, I can contribute to my success, is being around like-minded people that all feel it. When you're in the trenches, you're in the trenches together, but you see one person in that group start to succeed, and it's like, that can be me, that can be me. So it's just, it's great. It's definitely something that is very required if you're going to be in this for the long run.
100%. Let's talk about that a little bit with some of the friends that you made along the way while doing this. How has that helped you, with the achievements that you've been able to make? And, who do you think is, but how do you think that happened? Did you guys find each other inside Social Army or on TikTok?
No, we didn't. Our story's so wild. So there's 2 girls that I'm referring to directly. I have a lot of friends that like were friends in my real life that are on TikTok. They saw what I was doing. I've helping them grow their accounts. So it's great to see their successes. But as far as what I can contribute my successes to, aside from, being the Social Army community, are these 2 girls, Bree and Kayla. So they are both in Social Army as well. I believe you interviewed Kayla last week. She
awesome.
hit 1 million GMV last month. Like, she's doing crazy, crazy numbers. But I've seen her in the trenches. I've seen her in the absolute lowest points you can be on TikTok Shop, account bans. Like, she has her own story, but I've seen her rise above it. But we actually all found each other when we were doing the live stream. So I'm not going to mention too many names, but I wouldn't even call it an agency. Somebody found us and essentially was using our numbers that we were promoting live to send him to a different company. We didn't know any better because we hadn't found success on TikTok Shop. Like, I was selling some books here and there, but I wasn't really diving in. And he's like, oh, you want to make an extra 10,000 a month? I'm like, what is this? And I was making plenty of money doing the live streams. But we realized that it was pretty sketch, and we would go from the group that we were talking in, that we all met in. Somehow we just all kind of connected separately. We were all messaging separately. And I was like, hey, have you talked to Bree? Have you talked to Kayla? Do you think this is sketch? And then it came to a point where we found each other's group chat. And that was probably the 1st of June. And we've talked every single day since in our group chat, all day, every day. And we've actually met in person because we live across the country from each other. So in October, we came to my cabin here in Georgia. We had a content creation week, and we're awesome. Going to meet again. I'm meeting Kayla this week, and then And then a month we're going to go out to St. George and have all of our kids meet. So like these are lifelong friends that I've made. But I would not be here if it wasn't for them, because like after that whole live thing, I didn't have any success with shop videos. I'm like, is this it for me? But we've all supported each other every single step of the way, whether it's trying a new product live, whether it's really focusing on shop videos, giving critique and just motivation. I mean, like, it's okay to be upset. It's okay, to share your successes. I know a lot of people have a hard time sharing their financial success on here because it's embarrassing to talk about pay. And if you're doing really well, it's hard to tell the people in your real life, what you're making on the internet. So it's easy to tell people in that group. It's so wonderful to have that support. And I wouldn't have continued without them. And I know that they feel the exact same way. But they're actually the ones who introduced me to Social Army. They invited me to join. Yeah, so they invited me to join, and we've been here ever since.
I love that. And Kayla's awesome. I mean, I don't think I know who Bree is just yet, but I've got two of you talking very highly of this person.
Yeah, she's
so I think
awesome.
I need to meet her next.
She's awesome. She does all of the speed cleans before TikTok Shop, and she's a master at live. So she can pick up a random product and just go live with it. Like, it takes me a lot of times psyching myself up and repeating the same script, but she can hop on anything, and she's really wonderful. I'm so thankful that I had TikTok to meet them, but it's just like without their support in TikTok Shop, we would have all been gone a long time ago.
Right. And, it's extremely important to have a group like that because, and that's also one of the biggest reasons why we created Social Army, because you're 100% right. You can't talk to your everyday friends about what you're doing on here, because a lot of the times people think you're bragging, you're gloating, and things of that nature. And it doesn't come across the way that it's intended to.
Yeah.
And, I've got one friend outside of all of this that I talk to about this daily, but he's one of my biggest supporters because he just likes to see people win. So when I tell him about these numbers, he doesn't take it as such. He's like, dude, that's amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. I love to see it. But most people aren't that way. Most people will take what you're saying and be like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then they'll go behind your back and be like, this guy's such a dick, and it's just not, that's not how it's supposed to be. We're genuinely excited about this, but when you're not in it, you don't understand it.
Exactly. And I think that's so important to, number one, just transparency. Like, I love the win section in Social Army.
It's so nice.
I love seeing people celebrate the small wins and big wins. And it really puts in perspective too. I think, Kayla and I really have to remind ourselves of this when we have days that we feel like are low days, are days that we used to dream of having. You know what I mean? Like when you see your commission drop and you're like, oh, it's not as high as it was last week, but it's like, think about where you were a month ago, 2 months ago, and you would have, freaked out over having these numbers pop up. So when you have that win section and people are celebrating big and small, it really like brings you down and puts you in perspective. And you're like, this is all still crazy money. It's crazy money. My favorite way to like really figure out how much you're making on TikTok is, the $300 rule. So pretty much if you make $300 every single day, that's $100,000 a year. You make 600 a day, it's $200,000 a year. So every time I get past one of those thresholds, I'm like, listen, I hit that, check mark, and the big days are going to outweigh some of the small days. It's just, it's great to level head yourself sometimes. Like, you just stay consistent. It all works out. But I just like celebrating other people's wins. Like when Kayla had that video pop, I'm all for it. Bree's having some videos pop, I'm all for it. I just like seeing people succeed and win, especially when I know how hard we'll work at this. I know people think like you're just popping a video on and, you're getting rich off of it. That's been the case at times for people, but that is not the case if you are doing this and you are doing this, with your whole heart into it.
100%, and people want to always think that it's a game of luck. Yes, in the long run, there's a lot of luck involved in all of this. Don't get me wrong. But when you're doing this full time and as a consistent style of income, it all boils down to consistency and quality, and you need to consistently post quality content in order for yourself to really get out there. One video can pop off. You can make a good amount of money off of that. But if you don't continuously work on improving your content and the quality of it, you're never going to have another one of those videos pop off again. If you don't look at what made that video blow up and go back and repeat those steps and rinse and repeat and continuously do that. Yeah, 100%. You're never going to see it again. And then you're going to be mad at yourself like, okay, I made 30 grand this month. What happened? What did I do in that video? And now it's too late because it's been 30 days. The algorithms changed. The way people consume content has changed. That product might not be in the market anymore. And things are just probably off kilter. Sometimes you really have to sit back and take this very seriously. Because yes, it is just posting videos, but it's so much more than just posting videos at the end of the day. And it takes people who get into it to understand that. The regular,
yeah, for sure. And a lot of things too is like when you rinse and repeat your own things, a lot of people are going to pick up on that and they're going to rinse and repeat the same method, and then it becomes oversaturated. So that doesn't work for you anymore because people don't realize that like you're kind of the one that went towards that first viral direction. And now everyone's doing the exact same thing, which is great. That's all this app is. We're all trying to figure each other out.
Right.
But you got to refocus and regroup and figure out the next thing that's going to work for you. And a
100%.
lot of it is throwing, spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticks. And then, when it sticks, then you just keep tossing it. So like I had a lot of success with the Halara skits. So what I would do is like, it was just so random too. Like I was just walking into a store with my husband and I was like, hey, I need to make a content video. And he just walked behind me, complimented me in the leggings, and it just went crazy, and then I wouldn't say every, but like the majority of the videos that I've done in the similar style after that, where he's complimenting the leggings, where I got them from, they do so well for me. Yeah. And I see it all over my For You page now, which is great. And I see a lot of success with it. And I just know like, that's not going to work for me forever. So like, where am I going to, refocus and still sell these leggings? Cause they're one of my top selling products, but in a new way.
Yep. And you got to constantly be creative with it. Like you said, you got to throw something at the wall and hope it sticks. If it sticks, rinse and repeat it until it stops sticking again. Yep. And it takes time. Like I've set a couple of trends on TikTok on the shop platform. And with those trends, they blow up, but they come to a stopping point. Eventually they stop working. Yep. But you rinse and repeat those trends until they stop. And then it's your job to find another one that works. So, I got some questions for you in regard to like tips and tricks on how you go through and create your content on a daily basis. And to add to that, how many videos do you think you post per day?
So for a while, I was posting 10 videos a day minimum.
Holy shit.
10 a day. I know, 10 a day, and 10 quality videos a day too. They weren't, just quick thrown at the wall. They were quality videos. I was doing 10 a day. That was probably more October to November-ish. But then I started reviving some of my old accounts that I let just die out to see if I can get some second income. You just never know. So I kind of put it out a little bit, but like I would say on average every day 7 on one account and 2 to 3 on the other. And when I worked my full-time job, like it's honestly easier. Like when you're in motion and like, that you have limit on time, it's so much easier to get the content out. I've realized like this week that I've had like the freedom to be home. It's harder to get into it because I know like, you can get to it later. But when I was like constantly on the go, so I would, I'd go live in the mornings. I would drop my son off at school. I would come back. I knew I'd have about an hour to get myself ready and get out the door. And I knew I need to film videos because then I'd be at work itching to post. So I would film my videos most of the time. Like I'd be getting ready, filming a product like that. Before I go out the door, film a few more videos, save them in the drafts, post them throughout the day, come home, same process. And it was just like, it was overdrive. So I think the best thing you can do for yourself, if you do have, the flexibility and the time, is create schedules. Think of this as, a job that you're going to clock in the hours and clock out of. If you just kind of do, it's like, oh, I'll get to it later. Then your contact's going to lack because you're like, oh, I have to fulfill the sample. Let me just post something. But if you are sticking to a plan for yourself and you're giving yourself like allotted hours, if you want to go live for a certain time, stick to that window. If you're going to, create sample content, stick to that window. And then if you have the content that's like already performing for you that you need to make more videos for, put that in another block. So you just really have to stay organized with it as best as you can. I mean, some of my best videos are just on the fly. Some of it I see, a product that's TikTok shop related that I use every day. Let me make a quick video on it. Those end up being a lot, higher performers because they're organic. They're just like kind of in the moment, not overly planned. But you just have to kind of, have discipline with it. It is very hard. Like I said, the more time I have, the harder it gets for me to focus down on it. But if you want to make it work, you will. And I think the hardest thing for me is to hear when people say they just don't have time, like people that I'm bringing in with my real life that are seeing, what I'm doing, like, hey, can you help me? Or, oh, I didn't have time to post today. I didn't have time to do this. I'm like, you do have time. You're just not making it. And that's it. Like, it can take a second. So if I'm trying to help train somebody or help bring somebody on board, like, I'm like, you need to be committed to this or it's not going to work for you. You can't complain that you posted one video a week and then you're not showing any numbers. Like, you got to find time, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 10 minutes, whether it's an hour, whether you wake up an hour earlier to get it out and get it done. You just got to do it. It's what it is.
It's 100%. You're not wrong in any way, shape, or form. That's one of my bigger pet peeves is when people tell me they don't have time. Quick story time on my end here. I worked a full-time job as a finance manager at a car dealership, right? I was there for 10 to 12 hours a day.
A lot
On
of
top
hours.
of that,
God does that.
man, lots of hours. On top of that, I have 4 kids. On top of that, I'm married. On top of that, I was doing, TikTok shop. So like I had so many things going, right? And every right for things to go against me in terms of time. I would make sure I would take products to work with me. Mm-hmm. I get a 10-minute break. Guess what? I'm filming a video.
Yep.
I get a lunch break. Guess what? I'm filming a video. It doesn't take more than 5 to 10 minutes to create a video. And there's 4 simple steps to a video. Really 3 if you bring it down. 4 if you include one process. 1, creating a hook. That's step 1. A hook is something that gets people intrigued and you stop the scroll. 2, finding your middle part, whether that's relatability, controversy, a story, an experiment, demonstration, or showcasing whatever the hell it is. That's your middle parts. Pick one, pick multiple, include it all in. Then you have a call to action, which is what gets people intrigued enough to go ahead and go through and want to buy the product. You're bringing the knowledge, you're bringing the awareness to them that, hey, what I'm showing you, you can actually buy within this video. God, there's more products. I just had the mail lady show up at the door.
I'm telling you, that's what.
And then the 4th part to all of this is editing, which should be the least time consuming out of all of it if you know how to create your clips effectively. Yep. 1 clip, that's your hook. Include a visual and an audible hook within it. Your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th clip, whatever it may be, could be your middle parts, whether it's a demonstration, you showing it in use case scenario, things of that nature, right? And then your call to action is your last clip. You shouldn't have too many clips in a video. Take it over to your editing platform, whether it's CapCut or inside TikTok, trim out your dead space, boom, your video is ready to post. It should not take you more than 20 minutes at max. If you're making a very simple video on something.
That's good content.
Yeah, and it's good content on something like this, right? Then you post the video. Takes 2-3 minutes for you to build out a caption and hashtags and post. You're good to go. At most, you've spent 25 minutes creating one single video. If you can't find 25 minutes within inside your day to carve out a video that could potentially make you hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars later on down the road, you have the wrong mindset to be doing this. And you need to shift it. You need to shift it. I had everything going against me, but I always made sure to find time to create the content that I knew was going to help me. And it allowed me to take back my life in terms of time and financial freedom.
And I followed your lead. I always remember that video. I quit my job. I was like, I need a bold video like that.
Are you going to make one? You got to make one now.
Well, I did a small video where I was like, hey, I'm leaving my job today. Like I knew it. I knew I was leaving today. And then it was like 20 minutes before I was crying. And then after I'm like, hey, I'm good. So I do need to do another one, but I need to have a link on it because anything that I post that's not a shoppable video is not going to go anywhere. So I need to do another one on it. But no, it's so true. You got to find time, and it's okay. Like everyone does have busy lives, but it's the same thing. Like if you want it, you're going to do it. Like for my husband, he finds time to wake up before I do to go to the gym. Am I going to do that? Absolutely not, because that's not where my head's at. Right. You know, like I will simply just say, oh, I don't have time for that. When in reality, I want to spend that time doing something else, which for me is TikTok shop. So I get it. Everyone has, they have limitations, but they also have, windows that they can make it happen if you really want it. If you just want to do this and get some free samples, that's totally okay too. That's how I started. I just wanted a few free samples. That's cool. Yeah. But if you want to change your life, if you want to, take back your freedom, it can happen. It can happen on social media. Between you and I, we've both seen it. So, and we've seen so many other people do the same. I'm not saying go quit your job. This was a long thought out process for me. But it's possible if you put out put in the hours, put in the work, put in the effort, and just, learn. You constantly got to learn and evolve and just find people that support you.
100%. And you've got to keep an open mind, and you have to learn how to prioritize what's more important, right? Mm-hmm. Is watching TV at night more important than possibly changing your life financially? Hey, if it is, do you. Go watch that TV show, But if you think that now's the time for you to make a change, cut out 30 minutes of that TV watching time and go make a video. Exactly. Or go study some popular creators that you like and watch how they create content, and then go make 100 draft videos of your own until you feel comfortable doing it yourself. Exactly. One of the hardest things to do is to get comfortable on camera. Most people struggle with that because right now, you guys are watching a podcast where I'm talking to Ashley, but I'm staring into a camera lens right now. I'm not looking at her face.
Hard to look at.
Right. I'm looking into a lens. So that's hard for people to do because you're carrying on a conversation with an inanimate object. right? And it's something that's not easy and it's not comfortable for a lot of people. But once you learn how to get comfortable on camera, it's over. It's the easiest thing in the world to do.
You know what I always think of whenever like I'm practicing on camera when I get comfortable? The Sims game. You know, like when you remember you have to like build up your charisma points, and then you have your sim character like talking in the mirror to build up their charisma points. Like it's so true. Talk in front of your camera, save the draft, send it to a friend, you know, get them to take a look at it, see what you can do differently. I feel like anytime you guys have anyone in Social Army has ever commented on any of my videos or like given me feedback or an audit, that's always like, you're entertaining, you're good on camera, but like, let's reel it into a sale. So if you can get past that, like you can really, you know, fine tune exactly what you're doing, what you're trying to say. But yeah, the hardest part is just getting comfortable. Like it is weird. It is weird just like to talk to yourself, and you have to be a little bit, you know, the higher version of yourself. You know, if I'm just sitting back, you know, hanging out, then it's not going to be as engaging. They're like, okay, does she even care about what she's saying? So like take who you are, put like a little sprinkle of, you know, glitter on it, and get in front of the camera and do it.
Be unapologetically yourself. That's who I am. My videos portray me for me. Anytime people meet me in person, they're like, holy shit, you're the same as in your videos. Yeah, because that's who I am. You know, I'm unapologetically myself. It might get loud here. All three of my boys just got home from school.
Three boys.
I have 4 boys, actually. One of them.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I have 3 older boys, 9 and 2 5-year-old twins. And then I have a 10-month-old.
Oh, congratulations. I have a 4-year-old son who is the biggest handful I've ever met. So I don't know how you can do 4. And I have a 13-year-old, oh God, she's 15 now, 15-year-old stepdaughter. God, the time flies by. Yeah,
you're right.
She's driving, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, time just doesn't exist when you have kids. You know, I had my first child at 20, and I'm now about to be 29 in, 5 days? 4 days?
You're a baby. You're still a baby.
I am. I'm young. I feel old. I identify as an old man. That's for damn sure. Get the others. You're good. Thank you. Chaotic. I
can imagine.
TikTok allowed me though to provide a house that's big enough for all of us comfortably. So that's
awesome. Yeah, that's
one of my biggest achievements. I love that. All right. So question. One of the biggest questions that we get asked all the time. How did you grow your account to 5,000 followers to get into the affiliate program? And how many accounts do you have?
So I have 3. I have 3 accounts. And the main one that I started TikTok in 2020. So my title's called Rome Baby. As I mentioned, my handle's Rome Baby. Everyone thinks my name's Rome. As we mentioned, it's Ashley. The reason my account's called Rome Baby is I was a new mom in 2020 when, you know, the world shut down for COVID. And I just, for whatever reason, hopped on the app. I think my daughter at the time, you know, told me TikTok was cool. And I was like, oh, well, watch, I'm going to get a video that goes off. And I started making a lot of mom content. So it was Rome Baby. And I grew my following to about 24,000 followers, I would say. And I just kind of fell off, you know, I was like, okay, I don't even know where this is going, what I'm doing with it. Probably my biggest regret is not joining the TikTok Shop affiliate program early, because I could have. So I grew up naturally that way just by, you know, mom content back in the day. So I did have that account, but I would say in the past month or so, I've grown another 12,000 followers just by like being very proactive on TikTok Shop. And then I have my backup account, which is Lively Libra. I grew that. Unfortunately, I did the follow trains for a lot of it, but a lot of it was creative content. So I made myself do a handstand challenge where I was trying to teach myself how to do a handstand. So a lot of that was from that content and people kind of popping in. I used to be a cheerleader, but like I lost that a long time ago. So people would tune in and be like, okay, you know, you're growing with that. So I started growing my following from that. And then the last way I grew my account, which I don't think you're able to do anymore, so this is top Miley moments, is that AI clip. So like if you take a video, you can clip it out and then you post it. So I'm a big Miley Cyrus fan, so I kind of made like a Miley Cyrus fan page account. And so I would go in an app, I would upload a video from YouTube, and what it does, it like clips it into vertical format, and then it can post it for you. So like I didn't buy any followers or anything like that, but the content that I was posting was of Miley Cyrus, and that's just fan page.
That's just fan pages. Those are totally normal.
To be her or anything, but I don't know if that's allowed anymore.
Oh yeah,
So
100%. Yeah, as long as
okay.
you label yourself as a fan page, that's just clipping content. That's huge, always will be huge. That's actually one of the best ways to grow an account. I tell people to do that all the time. It's just
Okay.
it's work. It takes
Yeah,
work.
it did. It took a while, and then like if you get a good video pop, then it's just gonna kind of pull itself. But I have about 11,000 followers on that one,
Wow.
and that's like my third backup page. I did that one because my lives kind of went to trash for whatever reason. I was so successful in lives, and then all of a sudden I was only getting 4 people in there, and they were me, my mom, my dad. Like whatever reason, I was like shadow banned on live for probably a month and a half. So I had to grow that third one, because I wasn't making money on shop videos. I had one viral video of the floating candles, the Harry Potter floating candles,
Right.
that has 5 million views, but that's not going to last me forever, so I had to build something up. So I did lives on that one and it was okay. But that's like, I do need to start posting more. I'm trying to convince my husband to take over that account and like really join it.
Yes.
I know he's so entertaining. Like any video that I post of my husband is just
His
like
views.
immediate blown up. They love him.
That is such
The
a
guys,
common theme.
yeah,
I love this.
The girls, the guys, the gays, they all love my husband.
I love that.
All his comments are like, "Is your husband single?" I'm like, "Okay, relax." But
you know who Sherry is, right? Inside the community.
Yes,
oh my, Sherry's her comment section whenever Riley, her husband's in it, same thing. All of them, all
it's a blue
over
collar
him.
men. It's a blue collar men. I'm telling you, they love him. So I'm trying to get him to take it over, and like he'll pop in my lives every now and then, and pop into my videos, and he'll do features and cameos. But I'm trying to get him to take it over. I'm like, you would do so well. I'm like, you were just so genuine, and just like, he's gonna do well. We just gotta find the time. Well, now I have it to build him up on that. So maybe one day you'll see his name's Jason in Social Army.
Let's go. Yeah, no, we definitely got to get him up and rolling. That'll be awesome. I love that. And I love how it translates over because we have Lindsay who gets her husband involved. Anytime her husband's involved in the videos, they blow up. Amber, same thing. Sherry, same thing. Kaylee, same thing.
Yeah.
I've got my wife, I'm the opposite of everyone, right? It's usually the stay-at-home moms who jump into TikTok and do all that kind of stuff, right? I was the dad who got into it. My wife's not a very big social media person. She likes Instagram. But anytime I get my wife involved in my videos, we get views. But it's something about that couple dynamic. I don't know what it is.
That's exactly right. Because it's so genuine. Like, sometimes like him and I are bickering in my videos. I'm like, back up. And like people, they love it. They do. It's genuine and it's true. And I feel like you're right. There's not too many, dads that are in the TikTok realm. I feel like a lot of the male population of TikTok are like the younger college guys who are making a whole bunch of money. But like when you see a husband and a wife and a father, you're like, that's me. Like the biggest thing about social media is like you want to envision yourself in the position of that person that you're watching. Like, can I buy that product? Could I visualize myself, wearing that makeup palette or, doing my hair that way or, for the girls. But you got to have the people visualize themselves in your shoes. And I feel like you being a dad and a husband, like it's very rare to come across, a content creator like that. So it's a really nice niche. And I feel like the same thing with my husband. I feel like he would do so well with it.
He would blow up with it. Yep. We got to get him on it. We just got to pressure him. Just tell me what you need. I got you. I'll give him everything we need to help him out with. I love that. All right. So what are some of the challenges you faced going through this entire thing? Everyone's got them. Yeah, everyone's got them, and I love to hear about them.
How many minutes do we have left?
Yeah.
So luckily, knock on everything I own, like I've just dealt with violations in the middle point of it, nothing that's too crazy. But I think the biggest thing for me, and I don't want to, I guess we can say whatever we want here. Like this isn't going to upset any violations, but like the live group that I was a part of that I mentioned earlier was very much like a cult. Like it was very much like you have to go live 3 to 4 hours a day, only do one product. You can't post any shop videos. If you're on vacation, I was in the Bahamas live streaming at 5 a.m., sitting on the ground in a resort because I would be kicked out of the group if I didn't do that. You have to share your numbers every single day. It was just very, very toxic positivity where it was like, you can't have a bad day without them calling you ungrateful to be there. And mind you, we didn't get paid a single extra dollar aside from the commission that we're getting from the products. It was, and the gentleman
that's insane.
He's very, very scammy. He sent a whole group of people to Hawaii thinking they're going to meet this celebrity in the industry. He didn't even like really show up. They all had to pay for their own stuff. It's just like a big thing. It could be a documentary series like one day.
Oh my God.
But it was insane. So like that was the mindset that I was in, but I was so scared to leave because I was like, you know what? He told me I was going to be making this money and I am, but I'm, going live 4 to 5 hours a day to do that.
Not worth it.
So once I got off that, I was kind of like, on my feet, like, what do I do? How do I figure this out? I'm not making money without going live, but I need to do this for myself. And Bree left that day. And then I left right after. I was like, we're done. Kayla had left like a month before that. But we were still very close friends. And I was like, I can do this on my own. So I started building up my backup account secretly while I was still going live with the main company that I was with, because we weren't able to do other products. And I was just saying, like, I can do this for myself. I can do this for myself. And then I started doing a rocking chair that did really well. And I love that.
Of all things, that's so funny.
I know. Right? It was like literally the best gig I've ever had, because before I was behind camera and like pointing out a vitamin, like back and forth, like it was so much talking, so much work, energy. And then now I'm just sitting in a rocking chair and people are buying it. I'm like, okay, I feel like I just, hit the lottery with this. And one day, as I mentioned, out of nowhere, my live's done. It couldn't get to a single real person that wasn't like joining my live because I told them to. And for whatever reason, it just happened for like over a month. I would try different products, try different accounts. And for whatever reason, nothing was working for me. So I was going days without making, $0. And that's when I was like, you know what? I got to do the shop video stuff. I see exactly, how well people can do with it. I joined Social Army, and, it could be, I believe in signs and manifestation, and, everything happens as it should. But 6 days later, that's when the candle video popped up for me. And it's just like, okay, I'm on the right path, Did I take the course yet? No. But did I communicate with too many people? Not yet. But it was just more of like, this is where you're supposed to be, and the universe is rewarding you for it. So take that energy and really dive in and really put forth the effort to see where this can go. So I did, and it's just really been up and down. Like I said, I started finding success again in lives on my own, probably about a month after this. And then I traveled for a week. I went to Florida, and then I met with Kayla and Bree, and I wasn't going live. I was like, I want to be here. I'm not going to go live, but I need to make some income. So let me focus even harder on shop videos. And it started taking off for me again. It's just where you're going to put your energy, that energy is going to come back for you. If you believe it too.
100%. I got on this conversation with Kayla on the podcast I did with her about manifestation. I'm a firm believer in it. I'm a firm believer that the reason why everything... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
She has us put every month. She has us put a quarter in what we made on TikTok before the month starts with some cinnamon. We put it on our doormat.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
She's like even further in the manifesting than I am. But last month it worked. Last month I had my highest month, and I like between all of the deals, like my different accounts, brand deals, and commission, I cleared about $60K last month.
Wow.
So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep putting the quarter under the mat.
Oh. No, 100%, and people think I'm crazy for talking about it, but I'm a firm believer that the reason I have everything I have in this current day right now is because of it. I put it out there, and written word is power. I have a book next to me that I write down all my goals on. I write down the things that I want to do daily, and I'll write it down. I'll put it off to the side. I'll close it. A lot of the times I'll forget about it. I'll come back to it a week later, double check, make sure I checked everything off. And lo and behold, everything that I wrote down, checked off, done, and ready to go,
I agree.
But you put it out there, and whatever you put out will come back to you, as long as you're, like you said, directing the energy in the right direction. So that's really all it comes down to. People think I'm crazy, but hey, you know what? At the end of the day, it works.
Exactly. That's why crazy people flock together. I'm telling you, just all stay crazy.
I swear. And it looks like in Social Army, we all found our people, because we are all roughly about the same. I love it. All right. Well, I think we're approaching kind of the end here. I do want to ask you though, if you have any kind of final thoughts or any sort of like motivation to some of the viewers that we have here that might be just trying to find their way throughout all of this and might be finding some struggles.
For sure. It's tough. It is tough. This is not an easy route to success. While we mentioned you can have a video pop off out of nowhere, but before that, you're probably going to have to put in hours and hours and hours and hours to get there. And that's okay. That's okay. And don't compare yourself to other people. That's the hardest thing. We're here talking about our successes, but we've had so much loss in between that and so many days that are really hard, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. But like I said, if you put your energy into it, if you focus on it, if you find a group of people that really support you and really have like-minded, personalities and ambitions, that's when you find the most success. If you're doing this alone, it's very rare that that's going to work out for you. So find a group of people. If you're already in Social Army, you're already a step ahead. But if you can even narrow down and find, close groups within Social Army, if you see someone's content that you really like, send them a message. I've met so many people through TikTok, through Social Army. We chat, we bounce ideas off of each other. But the biggest thing, find people who want to see you succeed and just keep at it. It's not easy. Some days you want to quit. I mean, there's so many times we're like, we're done with this. Like, why do we keep putting ourselves through this emotional turmoil? But then the next day, something pops. Like my very best friend in real life, who I've known, for 20 plus years, started her TikTok journey 3 days ago. She was like, Ashley, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to quit. I'm like, please, please, please do not. Her and I went to go film a content day together and did a skit together. The skit that we did has 1.2 million views right now. Like, so it's just, you got to stick with it. You never know when it's your time. So you put the energy into it, it's going to come back to you.
I have, a couple of short stories on that about do not quit. One of them, Tim, a good buddy of mine, that found me on TikTok, and as a real estate wholesale, he does that down in Texas. Turned his entire real estate wholesale page around, has over 160,000 followers. Turned it into a TikTok shop page. Took off all of his old real estate content, all of it, to go full force into this. Texted me and said, "Hi, Bugs." Texted me and said, he was going to quit and that he couldn't do this anymore. The next day, he ended up making $10,000.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's wild.
Again, texted me and said, "Hey, I just found these headphones. Videos popping off, and he sent me a screenshot, $8,000 day. And I'm sorry, the next day he didn't make 10 grand. He ended up making 10 grand over the next week. The first time he texted me, he sent me a screenshot, said, "Hey, I made $8,000 today on these headphones. Check these out." And I was like, "No way. That's insane." I told him, I said, "This is going to be a $50,000 month for you." 7 days time, he made $50,000.
That's crazy.
3 weeks ago, he was telling me he wanted to quit. Insane.
You never know.
Insane. And then I have one of the only people I ever took on as a coaching student. His name is Patrick. 7 months we worked together. 7 months. Video after video after video after video. Nothing could pop off. I texted him. I said, "Hey, jump on these headphones." 1 week's time, he made $136,000 in commission.
That is crazy. That's absolutely insane. I've never had a video like that massive. I would say I'm always queen of a good video pop, a good amount of sales dies off so quick. A video pop, I have consistent sales, but I still haven't even hit that jackpot one yet. So I am so ready for it. But I'm so excited to see my friends and the people that, around you. When that happens, it's literally you're hit at a slot machine and you just hit the jackpot. It's such a crazy feeling. And it's so true. You just never, ever, ever know. And it's okay to feel down. It's okay to be upset about things. It's okay. Scream, throw something, I don't know, but just don't give up. Right. Take a day off. If you need a mental day off, take a day off and then come back to it. You just never know where else can we have money that you can post a silly video that took you a few minutes that's just going to rack in life-changing money. It's just nowhere. This opportunity is too good to let slip. So I just really hope if you're on the fence about sticking with this TikTok shop, keep going. There's nothing better than when things work out for you. There's nothing worse when it's not. But unless you try, you'll never know where it's going to end up for you.
1,000%. Couldn't have said it better myself. Unless you try, you never know where it's going to end up for you. It could be, they always say, don't leave any stone left unturned. And this is one of them. Flip every stone you got. All right. Well, hey, anybody who's watched this all the way through, I appreciate you. This has been a very great episode. Ashley's amazing. And she's got a lot of knowledge within this and has a lot of good motivation within this for you guys to just keep going, because at the end of the day, this can really change your life if you allow it to do so. And it allowed her to quit her job. Now she's taking back that time freedom to spend with her family where it really matters. If you guys want to watch any other episodes similar to this, check out our the rest of the videos here on YouTube, or check out Spotify, wherever you're watching this at or listening to us at. And if you guys want to take a look at any of her socials, any socials she's willing to share, we will link those down below. And if you want to join Social Army, the link you're going to be joining under will be Ashley's link. So you'll be supporting her directly. We would love to see you on the inside, because truly there is nothing like the community that we've built anywhere else out there. It is one of the most engaging and helpful communities that you will find. And we aim to make sure that no question goes unanswered, because we want you guys to find the success that you're looking for. That's why we created Social Army. So outside of that, Ashley, I appreciate you for your time today. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
coming on
much for
here.
having me on. It's been awesome. And like I said, keep going, guys. Keep going. You've got it. And if anyone has any questions for me directly, my DMs are always open. Really, I love chatting with people. I love getting to know people. So I'm so happy to help in any way that I can. But just keep going. Keep going.
That's it. That's all you can do. All right. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys for being here. This will conclude another episode of the Social Army Podcast. We will see y'all on the next one. Later.